Hey, good morning, Metropolis. It's now 5 after the hour of 6 a.m. in the big monster city.
Come on! Let's get pumped!
Not drinking any fucking Merlot! What can I say? The camera loves me.
Shall we begin?
After you, Junior.
Sup? Welcome to Logged It. This is episode number 11 of the program. Today, we're talking about movie teams in honor of Cody's most anticipated film of the year, The Suicide Squad. On the desk today, we have Mr. Cody Newberry. Cody, I'm going to tell you before. Yep, you got it. You were muted, but now you're not. What's going on, Cody?
I've actually seen some positive reviews for Suicide Squad, so I'm excited about it now. I saw one from my dear friend in Australia that doesn't really like films, so that either is good or bad for the film. But no, I was just like, I haven't been on Logged In for a little bit. I would like to be on and talk about, not that I'm very passionate about movie teams, but I was like, you know what? I can show up and bring some knowledge to it. So yeah, it'll be fun.
All right. And as always, we've got Kaleb Boatman here. Kaleb, how are you?
I'm doing very good. I'm very, very excited as I do my head bob. The patented Boatman head bob. Anyone else who does it has to talk to my lawyer. But yes, I'm very excited for the Suicide Squad. I know that's not what we're talking about, but like the Suicide Squad looks like a very Boatman movie. And I don't know the last time we've had a blockbuster that looked like a very Boatman movie. What
about Cruella?
That was a good movie. It wasn't a Boatman movie.
Oh, my bad. Okay, we have someone here who has seen the Suicide Squad, but he's not going to spoil shit. It's Jake Marangoni. Jake, how are you?
They all die.
I woke up 14 minutes ago.
Nice.
But no, I did see the Suicide Squad. I wouldn't say anything. It was fun. It was great. That's
awesome.
But I'm just happy to be here to talk about movie teams. It's gonna be good.
And Jack is here, also first time on the show. Jack, how are you?
Can you hear me? Can you see me? All right.
Yeah.
I think we're good then. I'm excited to be here. Not overly passionate about movie teams, but I mean, I just have really been wanting to be on this show, so I threw together a list, and I think it's pretty all right. So,
Jack. Yeah. You fickle boy. Okay, let's get started with the way we always start the program. As soon as I pull up the banners, there they are. Our favorite movie that we logged this week. I will start off. Guys, Mayhem at the Multiplex premiered. I got my ass slapped, and I no longer have to watch Fandom movies anymore. And it makes me feel so good. So, all week, I haven't been watching Fandom movies, and it's been pretty great. I watched a lot of TV, but I watched a lot of movies as well. And I think the one that I'm going to go with for I'm between two, but I'm going to go with it's a rewatch. I rewatched The Father. I believe we've talked about it on this show before, but I want to reiterate it again. I think the movie's excellent. This was the first time I saw it since theaters and actually since the Oscars. And I think the movie holds up. I still don't think it's like a 5-star movie. I was thinking that it might have gone up to like a 5-star for me. But the movie stayed kind of where it was in the sense that I think the movie is a really good 4-star movie and just an absolutely amazing 5-star performance from Hopkins. He's so fucking good in the movie. It's stupid. I saw a review on Letterboxd this week that made me laugh really hard. It was like, get fucked, Christopher Nolan. The Father deals with time better than any of your movies. And I was laughing pretty hard at that. But yeah, The Father, I think, is really, really great. I know, like, a lot of people in our community have seen it because, you know, we watch a lot of movies here and the Oscars and stuff. But I found it really, really, really enjoyable, and it held up on rewatch. So I would assume most of us here have seen it. Cody, I know you've seen it. Your thoughts on The Father?
Yeah, I when I saw you rewatch it, I was like, that's weird. And not that it was weird that you watched The Father. It was just like, that's not a movie like I'm dying to go back to anytime soon, because I think Hopkins plays it so well. The only thing I love about that movie is I still laugh about people thought it was actually like a race after watching performances, because I'm sorry, Hopkins is a masterclass in that film, and I think he's far superior than anybody else acted that entire year. As somebody that's seen that, somebody's health dwindle away and how he was able to portray that on screen, terrifying. But it's a fantastic performance. I just don't know how often I'm going to pop in The Father just to watch it.
Yeah,
You're a weird guy, though.
Well, I had bought it on Blu-ray when it came out and hadn't rewatched it yet, so this was kind of the opportunity to rewatch it. So I'm sure it'll be quite a while before I check it out again. But Boatman, what did you think of The Father?
I really loved The Father. I was kind of avoiding watching it because I kind of thought I would think it was very okay. And when I finally gave it a shot, I loved it. It's like partially due to, like, if you know, I work at a retirement home, so I see some of the subject matter firsthand a little bit. And the film, it's a tough watch, especially like if you've seen that stuff firsthand. It's not an easy watch, but they do it so well and they keep it so engaging. It would have been so easy to take the subject matter and do it like straightforward, but getting it from Hopkins' perspective makes it so much better.
Yeah. Jake, what about you?
All respect to Chadwick Boseman and his performance in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, but once Anthony Hopkins gave the performance of a lifetime, I didn't think that there was anyone who could really beat Hopkins, and I'm glad that he won the Oscar. I think it's insane to see someone this like honest about at his age of a performance about a man with his mind deteriorating, and just seeing kind of the stages as we go throughout the film. First, he doesn't recognize his daughter, and then there are several actors are playing several different characters, and it's just you start to kind of lose focus. Just like the character. There's a specific moment during a dinner scene in which it kind of starts to loop, and that's when my brain kind of just broke. And that last 10 minutes is just insane. Like, it is fantastic. That is like the epitome of his performance in those last 10 minutes. And I just like, it's a film like 12 Years a Slave where I don't know if I would ever rewatch the movie. I'd have to be in a very unique mood to want to rewatch it, but I do think like The Father is a fantastic film, and it's not just Hopkins who's great in it. Like, I think Olivia Colman is just as good. Like, I would have picked her as the best supporting actress that year, but I do think she's really fantastic in this. And even Rufus Sewell, even though he's playing like a very Rufus Sewell type character, I think they all just give like great performances. And I also think the production design is also really underrated. The way that the whole apartment changes throughout the film. It's a fantastic movie.
Absolutely. And wow, of course, his internet was better, he said. Jack, you there?
Yes, I think I'm here.
All right, The Father, have you seen it?
Yes, I've seen it. I watched it with my mom and my sister and cried a little bit. No, it was a great movie. Hopkins is incredible in this movie. He deserved to win the Oscar for that movie. I think I don't know. I'm not going to call him out, but I don't understand some people that don't think this movie's all that great. But
Kaleb Koho did it for you.
Okay, thanks. Someone else did it. No, I think it's a great movie. I personally, my favorite of the Best Picture nominees of that year, but it's a great movie.
All right. Cody, we'll go to you next. What was your favorite movie you logged this week?
So I didn't log a lot of great movies this week. I'm trying to finish up Actor. I'm kind of burnt out with Actor right now because I'm down to like the last 17, and they're all 30s and 40s, and they're hard to get a hold of at this point. So I went with one just recently, Absence of Malice, Sidney Pollack movie. This is so surprising how low this ranks. Even I was looking it up. Sidney, this is like his 12th known directed film, by popularity, and it's crazy. It's Newman, Sally Fields. It's like the basic tagline on Letterboxd says it best is, in America, a man can be proven guilty. Can a man be guilty until proven innocent? Basically, and just how that procedural works throughout the entire thing. And I think Sally Fields is really good in it. I think Paul Newman, Adam Collins' review for it, hits the nail on the head for me. 80s Paul Newman is a mood that I just love. He's right on the brink of older Newman. He's just angry. There's a scene where he's just screaming back and forth at somebody, and I just love it. I would definitely check it out. It's on Amazon Prime right now. It's basically evidences against this man and him just going through the day-to-day of it. It's fantastic. I would check it out.
This has been brought up on the show before. I think it was either by Boatman or Collins. I don't remember. It was Boatman. I haven't seen it, but it's in the watch list now. This sounds great, so I'm into it. Boatman, you said that it was you who brought it up, so what if you want to talk about it again?
I agree with Cody. Big director, big two lead actors, I don't know why this, and it's great. I don't know why this doesn't get talked about more. Because there are so many different angles. You look at it from Sally Fields' angle, where it's this journalism thriller. You look at it from Newman, where it's very much about this broken man trying to go against the world, basically. And then you just have a lot of great supporting performances, particularly Wilford Brimley. Wilford Brimley shows up for one scene in this movie. And it's maybe my favorite scene in the movie. And there's a definite shift that kind of happens in the last 30 minutes of the movie that I think makes the movie so much better and kind of puts the whole thing on its head. The film is just
I forgot to bring up Wilford Brimley.
Wilford Brimley rocks in this movie. He should have been nominated for an Oscar. And I'll say it, Newman should have won that year over Henry Fonda.
All right. Jake, have you seen this?
I've not. No. Maybe there is a reason why it's his fourth most well-known film, for 14th most well-known film, because I hadn't even heard of it until I saw Cody's had logged it. So yeah.
And Jack, what about you? Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it. I'll add it to the list. Very long list right now, but I'll see it eventually.
All right, Boatman, your favorite movie you logged this week?
This was one I'd just been meaning to watch, so I kind of put this as a reward movie after I did some trivia studying. And that's the 1979 Peter Gates film, Breaking Away. This is a film that I had heard about from quite a few different people. Paul and Michael, particularly, both love this film. So I'd been meaning to check it out. I was a little hesitant just because it is a sports movie, and if you know me, you know that's not often my bag. But if all sports movies were like this, I would love sports movies. Because this is it's very much a hangout movie that kind of just naturally turns into a sports movie rather than being an actual sports movie. And it's excellent. And the actual cycling race at the last 30 minutes of the movie is the most invested I've ever been in any sporting match, real or fictional. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time.
I've heard of this, but I've never seen it. I think I knew about this because of either Michael or Paul logging it or something. Just looking at the cast right now, we've got Dennis Quaid and Jackie Earl Haley, so
and Daniel Stern.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, I like sports movies, so I'm good to watch it. I saw your review and it made me chuckle, so yeah, I'll check it out eventually. Cody, what about you?
Paul's brought this up numerous times to me. I'm gonna definitely check it out. Boatman, I'm sorry that jocks were mean to you, but sports movies are good. Stop. It drives me crazy. Sports movies are good. I'm sorry you were bullied. But it's been on my watch list for so long, so I need to check it out.
All right, Jake, what about you?
Brian Michaels also did not like it, so that means it goes up like 3.
Oh, it's probably pretty good.
Yeah, I've heard this film talked. It's always been talked by Michael and Paul. They've always brought it up. I think it's in Paul's top 20, if I'm not mistaken. It's very high, top 30, I believe. Yeah, I've got to watch it. Whenever I decide to, I'll watch it. I've just added it to my watch list. We'll see how it goes, but yeah, I've heard good things, really, really good things. Definitely one I got to check out.
All right, and Jack, what about you?
Once again, haven't seen it. I'll add it to the list.
All right, fair enough. Jake, we move on to you. Your favorite movie log this week?
I was going to say The Suicide Squad, but I should be honest and say, I mean, no one's going to have seen The Suicide Squad yet, so it wouldn't make sense. I'm going to go with a rewatch I did last week. I'm picking Tenet.
Okay.
That was my 4th time watching it. I can't stop watching this movie. There are a few movies where there is just so much to get on multiple viewings, and this is one of those for me. Ever since I saw it almost a year ago now, I've just wanted to find out more about it, like just analyze every specific detail. And coming to this viewing, I just wanted to just watch it, just not even try and psychoanalyze everything. I just wanted to go and watch it as a movie, and it's just so much fun. It is so entertaining to watch. The sequence of events take place. The whole breaking into the Freeport and them fighting the inverted guy. It's just so many sequences that just makes you question everything, especially when they go into the blue room and the red room, and you start to kind of get a little bit more information. It's such a fun movie. It's a film that I'm starting to think is going to make my top 100. I can't stop going back and watching it. And it's also just a good film that I like to talk with friends and just kind of bounce off each other and try and figure out what the hell's going on. So, yeah, I still think this is a great film. And this is, I think, without a doubt, one of Nolan's most defining movies so far. And it's by far in his top 5 best movies.
Yeah, I liked Tenet quite a bit. I saw it twice in the theater, I think, and really enjoyed it. And I've watched it once on Blu-ray, in the 4K Blu-ray, and that looked great. There's a really great on the Blu-ray. There's a really great documentary about the making of the movie. That's really, really great. If you get the chance to watch that, it's about an hour long, and it's really interesting. All the stuff that they do to make these Nolan movies, the work they put into it is really impressive. But I agree with Jake. I don't think it's top 5 for me. But there's not really a Nolan movie I don't like. This one is mid to lower tier, but that's not like a bad thing. I think the movie's really enjoyable. I like watching the movie. A lot of people complained that Branagh was like terrible. I liked Kenneth Branagh in the movie. I thought he was fun. Thought he was a good time. I thought everybody in the movie was great. John David Washington's a badass. I'd love him. I thought it was a good time. Like, again, will it go down as one of my favorite movies ever? No. But if someone was like, hey, let's pop it in and have a good time, like, absolutely, I'd watch this. I'd enjoy it quite a bit. Cody, what about you?
Yeah, I'm terrified. I'm terrified to go back to this film because it was one of the first ones returning to cinema I watched. I really enjoyed it when I saw it. But I don't know how it will be on rewatch. Again, it has a lot of things going for it. it has the son of the greatest actor working in it, and I'm excited that like I'll be able to transition to another Washington once one Washington stops acting. But yeah, I know Boatman. A lot of people told me I wouldn't like Tenet, and then I went in and liked Tenet. Because I guess I was able to, understand what was happening instead of being lost in the plot. Yeah, I don't know, like top 5 Nolan, maybe. I don't know. I think Nolan has a really good track record before, like in Inception, and then falls apart after it for me. I don't really like his later films, so. But Tenet was a return to form for me, so yeah, maybe I'll check it out at some point. But I'm not dying to go rewatch it right now.
Okay, Boatman, what about you?
Yeah, I'm kind of in a similar boat to Cody in that it's not that I'm necessarily scared to rewatch. I just have not had a desire to rewatch it. I had a really good time in theaters, but it's one of those movies that I just have not had any feeling where I'm like, oh, I really want to revisit this.
Okay. Jack, what about you?
Yeah, again, like pretty much the same boat. I saw it in the theaters. I really enjoyed it then. Not top 5 Nolan for me, but I love a lot of. I don't think there's a single Nolan movie that I dislike. Following is pretty good, but not great. But that's his only one I can really say isn't incredible, really. But no, it's a very, very well made movie. Dunkirk. It's a very well made movie. Just haven't had a desire to watch it again.
To be fair, I did also forget about Dunkirk. I went and looked. This is actually my number 6 on my Nolan ranked list, so it just doesn't make the top 5.
Do you have Dunkirk higher?
I have Dunkirk lower. I have Dunkirk at Dunkirk at 10 out of 11. So
let's go.
Yeah, no, I have this at 6.
One spot lower.
All right, that's higher than Tenet. Yeah, you know me. Okay, so we'll move over. Jack, your favorite movie along this week?
Well, I didn't get to watch a whole lot of movies this week because I was camping for most of it. But as soon as I got back, I watched 3 movies. 2 of them awful. One of them is actually really good, and that was today when I saw Road to Perdition. I had never seen this movie before, and just recently I started watching a few DC movies that I haven't seen before, and this was the most recent one, and it's easily the best. Tom Hanks is incredible in this movie. He kills it in this movie. Arguably, I think I have it right now as my 3rd favorite performance of his. But that could go up or down. It's a little early, but this could very easily make my top 100 like in the near future. I love the hell out of this movie. I think Sam Mendes is just a great director, and the cinematography in this movie is beautiful. And it deserved to win the Oscar for that as well. So yeah, it's a great movie. I'm very upset with myself that it took me this long to watch it, but I loved it.
Yeah, Road to Perdition is great. I like it more and more every time I watch it. Something keeps it from getting up to like 5-star status for me. I think part of it is honestly like there's not a single moment in the movie I dislike, but I also wish we could get more time with the father-son relationship. It takes a while to get to them actually being on the road to perdition, which again, I just wish that it was it's rare that I say, ooh, I could take another 30 minutes of a movie. This is a movie where I gladly would have taken another 30 minutes of them on the road together, him teaching him how to drive, them robbing banks and stuff. I absolutely would have watched more. That being said, I think there are so many good performances in this. Newman is great. Ciarán Hinds in his small role is really underrated and really good. Daniel Craig is fantastic. The scene where they're sitting at the table after they're on the run, and Newman says to him, like, are you gonna like apologize or whatever? And Daniel Craig has to like, he's like, I'm sorry, Dad. Like, I'm sorry. And he's like, no, don't say it to me. And he like has to stand up. Like, it's fucking great. It's such a great movie. I genuinely do love it. It's top 5 DC movies for sure. Cody, Road to Perdition.
So DC is a trash can.
Yeah.
If we're being real, like I hate majority of DC films. Like Superman sucked. The '90s Batman sucks. Like if you consider Supergirl and Steel like actual films, then whatever. But once they hit like the 2000s is where they get some good ones. I think Road to Perdition is one of the fastest things to hit my top 100 after watching it, because it doesn't feel like I guess it might have just helped because I was in a fandom kick and watching so many fandom movies that were not great, and then Road to Perdition, and it felt like I hit the jackpot or found a diamond in the rough. So I was like all on board. I really like Sam Mendes as a director, even if I'm not like absolutely in love with his films. I like love his direction, like American Beauty, 1917. Honestly, after rewatch of Spectre, I don't think Spectre's as bad as everybody.
It's not that bad.
It's
bad.
It's bad.
It's not that bad. Watch other Bond films. I'm sorry, it's not even. It's not even in the bottom 15. Skyfall, by far one of the best Bond films ever. So when this movie came about, and Tom Hanks is just like outstanding throughout this entire thing. I love the scene where he shows up into like Chicago and talks to Stanley Tucci, and Tucci's like, "Why don't you just go?" Like, just tells him basically, there's no help for here. Like, you're not going to get anything. You need to just leave and, like, just take it as what it is and get as far away as possible. And he's like, no. Like, Tucci just gives him nothing. It shows how much I love Stanley Tucci as an actor, too. This movie's really good. Good choice. And I'm glad you finally saw it, because it's really good.
Yeah, the Tooch is the best.
We respect the Tooch, yeah.
Boatman, Road to Perdition.
Road to Perdition is excellent. I rewatched this recently, another Paul Newman movie, and I love Newman's performance in this because his character is so essential in that it's basically he has this basically like, I hate the situation. He hates the situation, but he also loves his son the way that Hanks loves his son, and he's very much playing it so conflicted where he knows that he really is powerless in this situation when he's normally the guy who has the power. And I just love his speech at the funeral where you can tell all the double-sidedness of his character.
Yeah. Jake?
Yeah, this is one of my all-time favorite movies. There was definitely a period in my life where I was like obsessed with Sam Mendes' movies, especially the two-punch hit of American Beauty and Road to Perdition. And I also think that Road to Perdition is just an interesting contrast with American Beauty because there's like very little dialogue, especially in the first 30 minutes to an hour. It's more just like visually telling you the story of what's happening. I think the score is one of the best scores of the 21st century. Yeah. It's one of the most underrated scores. No one ever talks about it. I'm a humongous fan of Thomas Newman. He's he may be my favorite composer, and it's just so somber, and the music also just invokes the time period that the film takes place in, and also the cinematography. My God, it is like one of the most gorgeous looking movies ever made, especially during the shootout at the end of the movie. And Newman just saying, "I'm glad it was you." That just, oh my God, that just hits me so hard. I'm also just a big fan of father and son relationships, especially this one. It just shows that relationships with father and sons can be complex, and you never know what's going on throughout these relationships. And I just think it's a beautiful movie. I need to rewatch this movie because it's been many years, but I think this movie is fantastic.
Yeah, even when your son's a moron, you'll still love him.
Yeah.
No, that line you brought up of Newman, and then also the other line I love is it's also fucking hysterical. Like, it's so good. All right, so that's everybody's favorite movie we logged this week. We will now move on to our least favorite movie we logged this week. I will start. I did a thing. I don't know why I did this to myself, but I did it. I watched all the Mortal Kombat movies. And that includes Mortal Kombat Annihilation. And I was messaging Nazario, and I was like, "Listen, man, like, why did I do this to myself? Like, what? Because I know that he's a big fan of the movies and the property. So, I didn't hate the new one. I didn't hate it. It has some cool action sequences. Is it a great movie? No. There's lots of plot holes and really stupid shit. But overall, I thought it was a good time. And I actually liked the web series thing and the only reason I watched that is it came with the Blu-ray of the first two that I got. And I thought that was a good time. I had fun with that. But those first two movies, the Paul W.S. Anderson one and then this second one, Annihilation, I just did not have a good time at all. The first one at least had some mildly enjoyable sequences, but there was nothing enjoyable about the sequel, Annihilation. I sat there pretty like miserable for the whole 95 minutes. It was rough. I did not have a good time. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't know enough about Mortal Kombat, but like, woof. It's bad. It's not good. Cody, have you ever seen Mortal Kombat Annihilation?
I saw the first one like when I was 10 because I played the video game, and I remember not liking that at 10 years old. So I just stayed away from all that stuff. I didn't even know if that was like a movie. Like I thought that was a dream. When you logged all this stuff, I'm like, Tim, why? There's no reason behind this. Is it coming to Fandom? God, I hope not. For the
no.
Play. Yeah. So no, I'm sorry. As your friend, as your team partner, I don't understand why you did that to yourself. But we're not using it as a strength. I promise you that, because I'm not watching them.
Hey, if we get a question about it, I'll still get it wrong. So
the writers are writing about Annihilation. Yeah.
Boatman, have you ever seen this?
I feel like I don't have that low of self-esteem.
That's fair. I did not watch them in one night. I watched the first one night, the second one the next night, and then I watched the animated one and the new one a couple days later. So, Jake, Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
I do have a low level of self-esteem, and I have seen this movie more than once. Especially last year when I was watching video game movies for no particular reason. Right, Kaleb? But this movie sucks.
You did make me watch the first one.
What's that?
I did watch the first one for you.
Yeah, well, I mean, you don't need to watch anything else other than that. No, this movie fucking sucks. I'm just going to be honest. This movie is terrible. It has a bigger budget than the first Mortal Kombat movie. I shit you not.
And it looks worse.
Budget, and it's 10 times worse. It's 10 times cheaper. I don't even know where the hell all that money went to. Like
the director
James Remar?
show up.
I don't know.
Cocaine addiction.
The director to show up every day.
It went to James Remar because what else is he doing other than that and Too Fast, Too Furious? But
cocaine.
Like,
he was the only person that like when I saw him, I was like, I know you. He's in like. He's still doing a ton of stuff, but that's
him and Liu Kang, Robin Shao, I want to say his name is, but like, yeah, this movie it tries to be the second Mortal Kombat game, and I like the games a lot. I'm a fan, but it tries to just be like this whole epic adventure tale, and without even with the budget, it's so cheap looking, and we don't care. The action scenes are terrible. Like if it's shit, I at least just would like some good action in the movie. Like at least just something for me to enjoy, to be entertained by. And that is still terrible. There's a whole flipping and shit and them doing like tricks and kicks that don't even like hit. It's just terrible. It's a bad movie and I never want to see it again. And what else can we say? Like it's terrible. Is it bad? Guys, it's bad.
Yeah. Jack, have you seen this?
I do have low self-esteem, but I haven't seen it. But Tim, too bad you watched the steaming pile of crap. Wait, is that the line from the movie where she's like, "Too bad you," then pauses for like 10 seconds and then finishes her line?
I don't
It's
know.
one of the greatest lines.
I couldn't tell. I've tried to block it out of my memory. I believe this is Malcolm. Malcolm.
Thanks.
Yes.
Thank you, Malcolm. Appreciate
About
it. Thanks for the subscription. Okay. Let's move over to Cody for your least favorite movie along this week.
So I can go a lot of different directions here. I can go Surf's Up. I can go.
I know what you're gonna do. I know what you're gonna do.
I can do the highly offensive King and I. No, that should never have been made. They should shop that right away. No good music in that. But I'm gonna go with something that when I'm already subscribed to a platform, a streaming service, you don't need to tell me on the streaming service known as Space Jam.
You didn't go to the theater?
No. I already paid $14.99 for the ticket to this movie. My son had a very was in the hospital, had some breathing problems. We worked through it, got home. I said, let's watch a movie. Space Jam was the choice. I said, no, but we did it.
To be clear, Space Jam: A New Legacy.
Yes. Let's not, because let me tell you, I thought the first Space Jam was on a certain level. This one, depths of hell. It's so bad. But I sat there, and I know I say things around my kids enough where they quote me. And when the movie ended, my son looked at me and goes, "That was hot garbage." That's my son. He's 5. That thing is the most colorful thing I've seen in my entire life. What is John Cheadle doing in this entire film? That poor man. He doesn't even. He's on drugs. LeBron James thought you could act in Trainwreck. You lost all that ability. I feel bad for Michael B. Jordan. I don't know what contract you are for WB for you to show up for that cameo. You looked about as miserable as I did.
That was funny.
That was funny.
No, it wasn't, because it was ruined before the movie came out. It was like in the trailer or some like
was
TV
it really?
thing. Yes, I saw that happen.
Oh,
and
I didn't know it going into
my
it.
5-year-old does not need to see the Clockwork Orange dancing people next to the court of a kids movie.
What about Pennywise?
Hey, Warner Brothers, question for you. Have you seen your own property of A Clockwork Orange? Have you seen it? Because it's not kid-friendly. That first 30 minutes should not be shown to anybody. I'm just saying real quick, this movie was just an advertisement for their service. They were able to take the characters that played basketball that the original had and make them so complex and so over the top that made no sense. The fake family, the fake everything, this movie is garbage. And LeBron James, I hate you as a basketball player. I hate you even more now as an actor. So, just like you do on the court, you flopped on the court and you flopped in the box office. So, congratulations. I'm proud of you.
I saw this in the cinema. And let me just say this. I enjoyed the Michael B. Jordan cameo. I thought it was very funny. That being said, everything else about it did not enjoy at all. This was brought up on the show before. I think Payson brought it up last week when I was gone. Is that correct, Boatman?
Yeah, that was his least favorite. I want.
Yeah, so this is the second time this has been brought up as the least favorite. It's not good. They don't even play in space. It's not a space jam. They don't play in space. They're in fucking computer. They're in the computer.
It should have been called Cyber Space Jam, and they didn't call it that.
That would have been better.
I mean, they don't
I
really
find
play
it
in space
hard
in the
to
first one
believe
either.
that at the 200 people working at Warner Brothers, not one of them said the word cyberspace jam.
Yeah.
Give Jake Marangoni a job.
Jack, they don't play in space in the first one either, but the people they're playing are from space, so I at least give that a pass.
I mean, technically, aren't we all in space?
I'm gonna punch you. So it's not a good movie.
They are in space in the first one. They're in Moron Mountain, aren't they?
They're at the Looney Tunes.
They're in Looney Tune Land.
Yeah.
When they play the game.
Oh God!
I just watched it. So anyway,
yeah, I'll give you a pass. Yeah, you get it.
Yeah, no, it's not good. I don't know if it was just me, but Bugs sounded weird. Like he didn't sound like Bugs Bunny. And I don't know if it's just like a new actor or like something, but I don't know. It gave me weird, like new Kermit the Frog vibes. But other than that, I love Daffy Duck. He made me laugh a couple times. The joke about looking expensive still gets me, even though it was in the trailer. But other than that, yeah, there's not much to love here. So, Boatman, you have not seen this, correct?
I have not, but I don't know why everyone's up in arms over the Clockwork Orange guys being this. I watched that movie on a plane. It's a really nice 30-minute movie about a guy who likes Gene Kelly musicals, Beethoven, and snakes.
I want to cancel you so bad.
You amuse yourself. You amuse yourself. Oh, that being said,
he does that to Richard Boatman, and Richard Boatman goes, I had you too late in life.
Jake, your take on Space Jam. And remember that Michael's in the chat.
Yeah, I know. You think I give a fuck that Michael loves this movie? Fuck him. He's fucking crazy. This movie's terrible. I was holding out hope that at least the basketball match would be fun. And then it came to the part where they had to recruit the other Looney Tunes members, and they literally just go into other Warner Brothers movies.
That Wonder Woman thing made me want to just. That Wonder Woman thing made me want to punch somebody.
Yeah. When it got to the Austin Powers planet, that's when I lost hope that this movie would be at least fun. I was just like, what are you doing? What 5-year-old's gonna care about Austin Powers?
Mad Max Fury Road, Casablanca.
So this movie was definitely made for an 8-year-old Kaleb Boatman.
No, it was literally made to show what they have on their streaming site. Come in and check it all out. We have Game of Thrones. We have Harry Potter that will take off in a month and put it back on in 2 months.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so weird.
But I also just think that the film is weird because the whole idea is that Warner Brothers, or Algae Rhythm, which is a great name, whoever came up with that name should get a raise for the creativity. It's about Warner Brothers pitching Michael B. Jordan to digitize him and put him into other movies, and it just feels like that's something that Warner Brothers would actually do, and they kind of do in this movie. And LeBron's that's a terrible idea. That's one of the worst ideas ever. And it's do you not understand what you've just said?
Yeah,
there's no self-awareness with that, and yeah, the whole basketball game is also just not fun to watch because it's more of a video game than the basketball. So it feels like with that type of movie, especially the first Space Jams, it appeals to those who like the animated show, and then people who like sports or basketball specifically. And so it kind of brings two different groups together. And this one just doesn't really bring anyone together. It tears people apart, is what it does. This movie's bad, and this movie
divides homes.
Michael B. Jordan was funny, and I also just love that Mr. Freeze. Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze was in the background.
So
I just kept staring at him and just not even looking at Don Cheadle because I just found it.
My family from this movie is united. We are one.
That's fair.
It brought us together.
Jack, did you go see this?
So I did. I was kind of avoiding it because of how just absolutely how brutally people were tearing it apart and saying it's one of the worst of the year and all that. And then my roommate comes to me and is like, "You want to go see Space Jam 2?" I'm like, "Okay, I don't have anything else to do." So this movie would probably be a star lower on my rating if I had paid to see it. I got to see it for free because I work at the theater. But I just didn't people had torn it apart so much for me that I kind of was just bad, but it's not that bad. And I had fun with it. I had fun.
Okay, so here's the thing, though, Jack. So, Cody, let me pose a question to you. If I make you watch, let's just say, I don't know, Tammy and the T-Rex, and you watch Tammy and the T-Rex on a beautiful cruise ship in a luxurious room filled with your favorite foods and beverages
For free?
or for free, or you watch the movie in your living room and you paid to rent it, it is the same movie, correct?
Yeah, and now that you have uttered those phrases, your letterbox is now even bigger of a black hole than it was before, because now it makes no sense. The environment and how you get things impacts your score. So if I give you a crap movie but put you in a penthouse, you'll give it a higher rating. No!
Not what I meant, but okay.
Banned from YLS again. Banned.
I'm already get banned until I get better internet.
Boatman, your least favorite movie along this week?
It's almost like someone just said the title like a minute ago.
Oh.
It's a little film called Tammy and the T-Rex.
Okay.
Thank you, Bill Cariola.
I'm not going to give my actual thoughts on this movie. If you want to, here's a nice little plug for Bill Cariola's show on Earth, which I will be on soonish. What I will do is I will describe for you the plot of Tammy and the T-Rex.
Please.
Sell me. Watch list, here it comes.
Paul Walker is a high schooler who is in love with Denise. He's in love with Denise Richards, and he gets beaten up by this bully, and then left for dead. Not really left for dead, but like just thrown into the woods where there's an inexplicable lion, and he gets mauled by that lion and put into a coma. And scientists kidnap his body and place his brain into an animatronic T-Rex. That is the plot of Tammy and the T-Rex.
So Paul Walker is the T-Rex.
Paul Walker is the T-Rex.
All right. I haven't seen it. I don't plan to. Nobody...
I think that's going to be my first drink back. Like, when I start drinking again, that'll be the first thing I pop in. Sounds great.
Jake, have you seen this?
I have not. I know a lot about it. Just I'm a big fan of Red Letter Media, and they covered this movie a while back. It looks just one of the most insane. It's one of the most insane like plots ever. Like as far as the story, like who contrived? How do you come up with a movie like this? Terry Kaiser's in the movie, who played Bernie. It looks just very weird. It's like it looks like a sentimental romantic kind of movie. You know, it's about a girl who's in love with a T-Rex.
What about you, Jack?
I haven't, but after hearing Boatman describe the plot of the movie, I might have to.
All right. Jake, your least favorite movie along this week?
I was worried I wasn't going to get to talk about it, but I'm glad that I do, because it's 2016 Suicide Squad. I remember seeing this movie like 3 or 4 times in the 2016-17 span, and then I just never saw it again because I never needed to. And then because the Suicide Squad was coming out, I had to, of course, decide to compare and contrast and watch 2016's version and kind of see what this one would do differently, that Suicide Squad would do correctly. It just reminds me why this is one of the worst movies of the 2010s. It's one of the worst movies of 2016, and that is I think that really does say something, because 2016 had a lot of terrible Hollywood films. It's just like the potential that the idea of doing a Suicide Squad movie has, and it just diminishes on every sort of aspect of the movie, from the characters, the choice of the characters, to their dynamic. And that's one thing that I just feel like if you're gonna make a movie, I mean, appropriately with this this episode, if you're making a movie with a team, you want to make sure that the team has a nice dynamic, that they play off each other in fun, entertaining ways. And they don't really do that. The only time they do that is when they go and they go to the bar, like that whole scene where they just talk about like the stories and shit. That's like a nice character moment for all of them. And we don't really get many of those throughout the film. I don't like the action. It's very dark. It's too different. And a big part of this movie's problem is the studio had just completely turned into a Frankenstein monster, making it more crazy and vibrant, and the colors and the crazy editing. And it's one of my least favorite films that has been edited ever. It's just horrible editing going on. It just cuts, and it just changes what was filmed with an intentional tone and pacing. And it's just it's a bad movie, and it follows a lot of those terrible superhero tropes of giant blue laser and a villain that makes no sense. And it is bad. It's fun to watch it though, and watch the newest Suicide Squad and kind of see what happens if you just let a filmmaker make his movie.
Excuse me. Yeah, I don't like this one. This is my least favorite Worlds of DC movie. I mean, there's not much more to really say that hasn't been said already. I saw it in the theater, I think twice. The first time I saw it, it was like, it was the night it came out. And I remember thinking to myself, like, because we were coming off of Batman v Superman, we were in a summer of like not great blockbuster movies. Like Civil War was good, but then
Apocalypse.
But then you had Apocalypse, and you had Finding Dory, and
Ghostbusters,
Ninja Turtles, Ghostbusters. There was just like a lot of stuff that could have been good, but was rough. And all the trailers for this were great, so I was looking forward to it. I like the cast, and I remember just sitting in the theater thinking, like, why isn't this like why is this the way that it is? And I didn't see it again until like a couple months later, like right before it left theaters. I checked it out one more time, and I was like, yeah, no, this movie just is not great. And then I remember when it came out on Blu-ray, it came with an extended cut, and I was like, okay, well, maybe they fixed some of the problems like they did with the BVS Ultimate Cut. And no, it was just a marketing tool to get people to buy the Blu-ray, because the Ultimate Cut of BVS worked out for Warner Brothers. So yeah, I just no, this is not a good movie. Not really any redeeming qualities for it. For the longest time, I had it at like a 2-star. And then I remember there was, during quarantine last year, Maggie and I were doing a Worlds of DC watch, and we just like looked at each other. We're like, this movie shit, and bumped it down to the 1-star. Cause I mean, it's just, there's nothing good about this movie. Like people will say like, oh, Will Smith's all right. And this, and I'm like, he's not even that good in the movie. Like, I don't know. Like, honestly, the only thing I really like about it is Ben Affleck's Batman, and he's in it for 2 scenes, and that's it. So, yeah. Cody's not back yet, so we'll go to Boatman. Boatman, your thoughts on the first Suicide Squad?
I kind of liked the first Suicide Squad when I saw it in theaters. Then on revisiting, I liked it less. I still stand by there are a few good things about it. I like Jai Courtney as Captain Boomerang. I do think he's actually very funny.
He's decent, yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the best.
Maybe a few things was a strong word. I like Jai Courtney as Captain Boomerang, and that's really about it. The big thing I hate about the movie, this is supposed to be like a fun, oddball movie, right? Like it's going for more of like a quirky tone. So why does it look like just grays?
Because the studio changed, because that's the way it was shot, and then the studio changed it to added music, thinking that would change the tone.
No, they wanted it to look like a Guardians of the Galaxy knockoff.
Yeah,
but David Ayer was trying to make a David Ayer movie, and I'm sorry, I saw Bright. I don't need the David Ayer cut. Okay, I don't need more David Ayer.
Hey, Fury is pretty good. End of Watch is good.
Fair, but those weren't like blockbuster action movies.
I agree with you.
Those
I
were
agree.
grounded movies.
Jack, Suicide, or Cody, we'll go to you next, actually, since you were gone. Suicide Squad.
I always look back at 2016 as one of like the worst additions to like fandom, the things that were added in fandom that year.
Yeah.
There's just so many bad things. Like, there's some good, don't get me wrong, but it's just overall just a bad year for movies. This movie and me had just a personal relationship. I worked at the theater at the time. It cut out halfway through because they sent the corrupt copy. I got cussed out by a bunch of DC fanboys because it didn't sync up at one point. And then I had to watch Sausage Party the next weekend because we couldn't let that mistake happen again. And then we stopped doing that because I threatened to quit. This movie's just terrible. It's a music video. It really is. It's literally cut like a music video. I think everything makes no sense. They wasted Viola Davis in this movie. She's probably the one redeeming thing in that movie, actually, that I like because she is ruthless, but they give her nothing to do. The Jai Courtney stuff I kind of understand, but at the end of the day, it's like a terrible thing, and some guy in the corner pops a confetti cannon off, and you're like, well, that was that was weird. What are we doing? Like, he's funny, but like, it doesn't save anything in that movie. The Joker is one of the worst things I've ever seen in a comic book movie. I wish somebody would just tell me, Jake, you can message me after. Does this connect in any way to the new Suicide Squad? Because do I have to go back and watch that because I'm a completionist, and I will have to watch Suicide Squad, the first one, before I see this one? And if I don't have to do that,
there's the same actors in it.
I don't care.
There's certain actors in it that I will message you up.
Thank you. Shut up, Tim.
Viola Davis is in the new one.
Shut up.
So is Joel Kinnaman.
Shut up.
Jack, what do you think of Suicide Squad?
You want to meet my sword? It traps the souls of its victims.
This is Katana. She's got my back.
I just remember somebody's review. I don't know if Jeremy Jobs or somebody was like, and then they just randomly go, "This is Katana. Can we go watch Katana's backstory instead of this movie? Because that sounds more interesting than
I
this."
would advise not getting killed by her. Her sword tracks the souls of its victims.
We gonna elaborate? Nah, we're good.
Jack, Suicide Squad, go.
I saw with my cousin in 2016, and maybe once when I was very, very tired since, but I don't remember. But I haven't seen it since. So it's currently a 2-star movie because I kind of enjoyed some parts of it, like Jai Courtney, Margot Robbie. Will Smith was good. I liked El Diablo, but honestly haven't seen it since. Can't really give you a solid answer on that.
All right. I believe we are to Jack now for his least favorite.
Now, I saw 2 other DC movies this week, and Cody mentioned both of them when he said, if you consider those actual films. And that was Steel and my least favorite of the week, Supergirl. This movie is terrible. Like, oh my goodness. Everything that Nick Tuig and I think Thomas Scully said on the Fandom, Worst Fandom Movies episode of YLS, 100% true. Peter O'Toole is in this for some reason, and I think it was Boatman's review. I hope his grandkids enjoyed their Christmas presents. I didn't like the movie. I don't like Peter O'Toole. I don't like Supergirl in it. I don't like Faye Dunaway's in it for some reason. It's not a good movie. The writing's absolutely atrocious. The visual effects are possibly the worst thing I've ever seen. I know it's a 1984 movie, but the effects for Star Wars were better. And that came out 7 years prior. Or something like that. 8 years prior. I don't know. But it's a terrible, terrible movie, and I don't like it, and I'm sad I had to watch it. It's bad.
Yeah, this is the 3rd time this movie's been brought up as the worst movie of the week on this show. So I've talked ad nauseum about it between this show and YLS, so I'm not going to add to the conversation other than, the movie's ass. Cody, have you seen this?
No, I've always said there's certain films in Fandom that if I played and I lost a question on, I'm okay with that. And those are like some of them. There's no point. if you ask me any plot thing about it, I don't think the question writer actually remembered it either. So let's move on. Terrible.
Boatman, you've talked about it, I believe, but if you want to talk more, go ahead.
I mean, if this is the reason why Peter O'Toole never got an Oscar, I don't blame the Academy.
It's fair.
I mean, Dick Tracy gave an Oscar after people played in that one, so that's bad too. So
I kind of like Dick Tracy.
Jake, what about you?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to move on to the last topic of this opening section. The movie this week that we added to our watch list that we are most excited about. I am going to take a look right here. I got it. Does anybody have one ready to go? Because I actually don't have one ready to go.
I do.
Okay, go ahead, Cody.
As well.
So I'm taking a break for my Oscar trip because I just need a break. So I'm doing a movie from each decade and I'm walking backwards. So nothing really surprising on some of these, but I added The Insider to my list. I've heard great things. I haven't ever seen it. It's a definitely up Cody's alley.
Yeah, you'll love it.
I think the runtime has always scared me of it, but then I think about all the movies like Michael Mann's Heat, which is similar runtime, and I love Heat. So yeah, I've added that. I've actually added a lot from the 40s and 30s, but yeah, that's the one that I'm most excited about.
Okay, now I've got something. I'm actually going to bring two things up because they kind of go hand in hand. I saw 2 trailers this week for 2 Ridley Scott movies that are still to come out. The Last Duel is one that's coming out, I believe, in September, October. It is written by Affleck and Damon, starring them in a Ridley Scott movie with Adam Driver in the cast and Jodie Corner. It's about King Charles, and I'm pretty excited. I like Ridley Scott, and even his bad movies, I tend to at least find some enjoyment out of them. Most of them, except for Exodus and
Are you a fan of A Good Year?
I haven't seen that one. So The Counselor was another one that was bad, but I liked Prometheus and Alien Covenant. I liked All the Money in the World. I've liked a lot of his most recent stuff. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. But the one I'm actually really looking forward to is I watched the trailer for House of Gucci. I think this thing looks dope. Adam Driver also in this with Lady Gaga, and the cast is stacked. Pacino is in it, Jared Leto, Jeremy Irons, Salma Hayek, Jack Houston is also in it. This thing looks awesome. I didn't know much about it before the trailer, and I still honestly don't really know much about it, but I think it looks really good. I'm very excited to see it. I think that one's in November. So yeah, we get a couple movies from Ridley Scott before the end of the year. I'm looking forward to both of them, and I just love Adam Driver, so I will watch him in anything. Look at that! Look at that man!
Look at him! Just look
fucking
at
beautiful.
The posters of this.
I love how that's the poster for the letterbox. Is the Pacino one?
The posters of these movies have me so excited to see it. I don't even know what it's about. I'm all on board.
We're gonna talk about Pacino more later, but he is a beautiful man. Boatman, what's your pick for this?
My pick, I actually added quite a few movies to my watch list this week, but I'm going with one I've never even heard people talk about, and it's called Long Day's Journey into Night. It's a 60s movie directed by Sidney Lumet based on a play, and it stars Katharine Hepburn, and apparently the play is quite famous, and really you had me at Sidney Lumet directing Katharine Hepburn.
Yeah. Jake, what about you?
There was a small little poker game that happened a couple of days back. Cody knows what I'm talking about.
I'm sad I wasn't able to be there.
It was fun, but there was Paul had dropped by for a bit, and he had mentioned a film that I added to my watch list called Win It All. a Joe Swanberg movie starring Jake Johnson. It's on Netflix. I think it's a Netflix movie, but I don't know much about the movie. I just know that from the plot synopsis on Letterboxd, a gambling addict faces a conflict when entrusted with keeping a bunch of money that isn't his. So premise sounds interesting. Yeah, that's pretty much what the only film that I added to my watch list. I mean, I added Breaking Away and what was the other one that I added? Don't Worry, Darling, Olivia Wilde's new movie, but that was the only one where I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna add that to the watch list. But yeah, so it sounds interesting. I'll probably give it a watch sometime in the week.
Cool. Jack, what about you?
I don't use my watch list all that often, but two movies that I added fairly recently. One Tim has talked about on the show already, and that's Halloween Kills. So for that movie, but no, the one I want to talk about is Reminiscence, new movie with Hugh Jackman, which I am so excited for that movie. I saw a trailer and it looks dope. I'm 100% seeing that opening night. Can't wait for it. Also, Tammy and the T-Rex is going to be added to the watch list after the show.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for that part. We're going to move on to the main part of the show where we talk about our movie teams. We're each going to give two movie teams. I'm going to start off. You guys know it. I always give the obvious one, the very popular one. I'm going to say the Avengers. And I'm specifically going to pick a movie to go with it. I'm specifically going to pick Avengers Endgame, which isn't my favorite Avengers movie, but I think that this was the best use of that like core 6 team where they actually have to like go and like do shit and save the world and go back in time and work together to do that. And then at the end we get everybody, and we've talked about it 1,000 times on these shows, but the final fight in Avengers Endgame is incredible. And I just love the character dynamics of the Avengers across all the movies. These are my movie. Like I love them. And like, that's why I'm just like, it's obvious that I was going to pick this. When Boatman said it, he was like, yeah, you know, stuff like the Avengers. And I was like, well, yeah, that would be my first pick. So yeah, no, I love these movies. Infinity War is probably my favorite, but they're not really like a huge team in that one. But overall, I love all 4 movies. I love the MCU. And I think that in Endgame, especially, the use of the characters is done really, really well as a team unit. So, yeah. Cody, the Avengers, yay or nay?
I mean, you're predictable as fuck.
Correct. Absolutely.
There's no originality coming from Timber Colors. No, but no, it would be kind of weird if somebody else picked them and you didn't. I like Infinity War more, but I agree with Endgame. That is the ultimate team dynamic between them. They get the most to do. I think the list makes sense. I'm going a little bit off the comic book beaten path, but good choice.
Boatman.
Oh yeah, Endgame is like the ultimate version of the Avengers team-wise. Like at the end there, you got everybody, and yeah, I think it's the way to go for this if you're picking one. And it would be weird not to have the Avengers on this list. Probably the most iconic movie team. So yeah,
Jake.
I knew exactly it was going to be this team up as well. The one where it's literally everyone, and for the Avengers. I do like it. I think I'm a nay. I just think that maybe I'm a yay. I don't know. I think I'm a yay actually, just because I do like the whole time heist aspect and them as a team. I think in that scenario plays off really well. I just don't really care for the whole last hour of the movie when it is everyone. Like it kind of loses a bit of that team and just becomes more of an army. But I do think the team dynamic with the time heist definitely is cool. So yeah.
Jack?
That's a yay for me, my friend. The Avengers movies are some of my favorite movies ever, so like obviously that's a yay for me. If people weren't going to bring them up, I was going to use my last pick for it to bring them up. But of course, they were brought up.
All right, Cody, we'll go to you next. What's your first pick?
So I'll be predictable as fuck as well. And if there's a team dynamic, there's been no greater team ever assembled to go onto a football field and play together.
I knew it was
as the mighty Titans.
Okay, I was like,
remember the Titans. This team has the most adversity of all these teams. There's not even close. They had to learn to play together, and put away their racial bias.
What is the team? What is the team name? Are they just the Titans?
Okay.
The TC Titans.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put
TC Williams Titans, yes. But yeah, they're the Titans. Yeah, just overall, it's like there's even a part of the movie when Julius comes, what team? Yeah, I'm gonna get what's mine, and then they learn to come together, and there's that entire building block. This is by far the best sports movie that's ever come out. I will stand by it. I don't think there's a better sports movie out there. Shut up, Spider-Man. Like you watch Charlie's Angels, and you can't even snicker at anybody. Calm the fuck down over there, okay? The Titans, Denzel. I think Denzel gives top 10 performance in this movie. Jack, get better in there.
Who did you make Jack's internet?
But everywhere we go, people want to know who we are, so we tell them.
Yes, surprisingly enough, I had never seen this movie before until last year. And you know, as someone who runs a show called Fandom Fights, where this movie exists, and it's one of the most famous sports movies ever, I probably should have seen it. So I watched it. It's great. It's fucking phenomenal. I love this movie. I just got the Blu-ray. Yes, I have Disney Plus. Yes, I have it on Vudu, but I bought the Blu-ray and I'm going to watch it in crystal clear high definition. And I'm very much looking forward to it. It's a great movie. I have nothing more to say other than just he's Denzel. He's fucking great in the movie. It's really good. Boatman.
Yeah. As you know, I'm not the big sports guy.
What?
That being said, if you had to pick a team sports movie and a sports team from one of those movies, Titans is the way to go. Because I think that's my problem with like a lot of sports movies is that they don't spend a whole lot of time actually like developing the characters, whereas Remember the Titans absolutely does. So I can give you the personalities of so many different people on that team. Whereas you look at a movie like Miracle, I couldn't differentiate any of the people on the Miracle team, right? Remember the Titans, I can tell you Rev, I can tell you Blue, I can tell you, Julius, Louis Lastic, and what their personalities are, whereas I can't do that for a lot of great sports movies, or so-called great sports movies that are maybe a little overrated. But Remember the Titans is a legitimately amazing sports movie.
It's just throwing barbs out here, okay?
Miracle is fine. It's not bad. It's fine. I like Kurt Russell, but everyone else is boring. But this movie's great. Fantastic.
All right. Jake.
So I haven't seen this movie in a couple of years. I did watch it. I have seen it. I thought it was okay. There are aspects of this movie that I think are really good. I think Denzel, he's fantastic as always. I also just love that little moment he does when he I can't remember what the match is, but the other coach calls him a monkey, and then he throws in the banana at the end of the game. That was just funny. That's great. But it's typical. Football. Football is like one of my least favorite sports. We don't have football here, or at least we don't have American football. We have our own Aussie football. So I can just never get invested in watching American football. It's just not really my thing. So I just don't really care for the Titans. I like some of the dynamic. I do get it. Yeah, it's the whole idea that it's two kind of groups of teams kind of becoming a unit. And I think that's cool, but I'm not really a big fan of this.
All right, Jack, what about you?
I haven't seen this movie since like grade 5, spread over 3 different gym classes, and I haven't seen it since. But I remember really liking it. I want to watch it again, like really badly, but I just haven't, done that yet. Been too busy watching other movies like Supergirl and Steel.
That's fair.
All
right, we're gonna move on to Boatman's first pick, which I can almost guarantee what it's gonna be.
Write it down.
I don't have anything. Fine. If it's not this, I'm gonna use it as my next pick.
That's fair.
But I can almost guarantee, knowing what I know about Boatman, that it's gonna be this. All right, go ahead, Boatman.
Okay, so one of my favorite subgenres of a movie team is the heist crew. Yep,
I should have written it down as well.
2001. Ocean.
That was so fast. You said heist and you said fight.
I should have just pivoted at that point. Been like, no, I'm going to
Ocean 13.
All right, go ahead, Bo.
I mean, you do have Terry Benedict working with the crew on that one. So, no. This is just one of the most charismatic, groups in a movie. Because, obviously you got the big 3. You got Danny, you got Rusty Ryan, and you got Lannis Caldwell. But then you've got Frank Catton in there. Bernie Mac is their, more kind of their on the ground man. And then you got Livingston Dell, the tech guy. And you've got Carl Reiner as Sal. And he's so great as their impersonator. Everybody has a job to do. I love those kind of ensemble heist or action movies where everyone has a specific job and a specific set of skills where the team all comes together. And that's just this is the perfect example of that. And I love the whole team. The whole crew is just awesome. You got Don Cheadle in there as Basher. Everybody makes fun of Don Cheadle's accent, but I don't care. This movie's super fun.
Yeah, we've actually talked about this trilogy on the show before. I like 13 the best. I know that might be a weird thing. Yeah, I like Al Pacino, so naturally I like that one more. But I think the first one's really great. Not a big fan of the second one. I don't think it's awful, but I don't love it compared to the first one and the third one. But yeah, it's a great pick. Like I said, it was going to be my pick if no one else did it, but I had a feeling that Boatman was gonna pick it. So, Cody, what about you?
Ocean's 11. I actually liked the second one more on the current rewatch than I did before. I think it still goes. I still think it goes. I think on my last one, 11, 13, 12. Just this crew. It's just the star power in this movie just makes it work for me so much because it's Brad Pitt being the coolest of cools in this movie. I really like his character throughout, and then just the easy the side characters. But I just love the idea of a heist. Would never pull one off, never have the ability to. So somebody else doing it and how it all plays out, when the cameras switch and when the different stuff happens, and you're they got away with it. It's one of the coolest things. I think Andy Garcia gives a fantastic performance as Terry Benedict in this movie. How ruthless he is. Just overall, I think it's probably one of my favorite trilogies out there, even though the second one's not a favorite.
All right. Jake, what about you?
I love Ocean's 11. I think I'm gonna add this to my top 100 soon. But it's just this is definitely what I was thinking of. Everything that everyone has said is it's perfection. It's perfection, and the team dynamic I think is. I always just love when they first meet up, and there's the small little conversations. This is the first time that they're meeting each other before they find out the plan to rob the Bellagio and the Mirage and the MGM Grand, and them becoming a unit, them becoming a team, and you just see the kind of the great it's a great dynamic between all of them, and I think that carries on into 12 and 13, and it becomes more of a family than the Fast and Furious movies. Like, it really feels like they become a family in that aspect, and it's really good. And especially the last shot of them as the camera pans around and just sees all of them as they've achieved this beautiful heist. It's great. It's a fantastic team.
Jack, what about you?
I've seen this movie once. A while ago. I plan on rewatching it. I own all the Ocean's movies, including 8, but so far this is the only one I've seen. I've just been waiting to marathon all of them.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, Jake, we'll move on to you. What's your first pick?
I'm gonna go with another heist movie. I'm gonna put heist in quotation marks because it does carry a lot of the tropes. I don't even know what to call them. Cobb's heist team in Inception. I don't know what. Yeah,
the Dream Team. It was right there. The Dream Team.
I had Cyberspace Jam. I wasn't gonna get all of the good ones. But the Dream Team. Yeah, I think it's fair to call them. I think I've said it before. I love Inception. It's one of my all-time favorite movies. It's in my top 20. The way that they kind of play off each other, I think it's just a wonderful. It's also just it's a unique setup for a group of people going into a heist, going into someone else's mind, going into someone else's dream. And the way they play off each other, especially in the first hour and 20, before they actually go with the plan to go into Robert Fisher's mind, and then figuring out like which aspect they got to work on and how they're going to perform the Inception. I think it's fantastic, and it's great just character building, especially between like Arthur and Eames and Cobb and Ariadne trying to figure out how to make the world, and they just play off each other really cool. And I think each one has their moments. Even Yusuf, who's kind of like the forgotten one, the chemist, he has like small moments, and when they try to figure out how much time is going to be in one layer and then the second layer and third layer, it's just an awesome dynamic that they have. And so yeah, I would say the Dream Team from Inception.
Yeah, Inception's great. It's one that when it came out, I watched it a lot. Like, I saw it in the theater 2-3 times. When it came out on DVD, I watched it with my dad. I watched it with friends. I watched it by myself. I watched it a lot. And then I kind of took some time away from it, and I rewatched it when Maggie and I started dating, and she didn't love it. So it was rough. That was a rough night. I think she fell asleep. And then she's nodding right now. Like, of course I fell asleep. It was New Year's Eve, she said. I don't remember that. But then when it was re-released on 4K, I rewatched it, and that is a beautiful 4K. And then we also just saw it in the theater when Tenet came out about a year ago. We went and saw it in the re-release in theaters, which was really, really great to see it in theaters again. And I think you liked it more in theaters then, right? Yeah, I'm getting a yeah. So, no, it's a great pick. It's a great movie. I know Boatman loves it. It's one of those movies that just like, I don't know. Every time you watch it, you just find something new to enjoy about it. I think the cast is all really, really great. This was like the first time I like remember seeing Tom Hardy in a movie. Like just being like, oh, you're Tom Hardy. But it's a great movie. Cody, you also love this movie, I believe, right?
Yes, it's my 13th favorite film of all time.
Nice.
And I have to tell myself to not watch it as often as I want to.
Cody, it's also my 13th favorite movie of all time.
Great minds think alike. Too bad I don't have rubber on mine. So I just sat there. It's the fastest rising to my top 100 too, because I only saw this movie, I think, either 19 or 20 for the first paid attention to watch the first time. It played in college, but I didn't really pay attention to it at the time. And I've watched it so many times since. I find it fascinating. It's Nolan's best film, in my opinion. I understand people say The Dark Knight, but this one is just one that just interests, like the heist, the conversations you can have after it, like all that stuff. I think this movie is absolutely incredible. Great choice. I don't even know why I didn't think of the team of the to put it on the list because it probably would have been one of my. Well, I have Remember the Titans higher, so I will stand by. That's probably what should have been my first pick. So. Good choice, Jake.
Boatman, go ahead.
Yeah, it's no secret I love this movie, and the team aspect is one of the best things about this movie. Specifically, I'll reiterate what Jake said. The dynamic between Arthur and Eames, so much fun. I love the little, you mustn't be afraid to dream a little bigger, darling. That's great. And how they're kind of making slow little digs at each other the entire time is a lot of fun. And I love each one has like a clear function, and everyone here, you got, more of your impersonator, forger with Eames. You got Arthur, who typically more of, the writer style or architect style, even though he's not the architect. Now you've got Ariadne, who's the architect there. You've got Yusuf as your chemist. You've got the financier with Saito. Everybody has their thing.
Jack, what about you?
I love this movie. I think it's easily it's my third favorite Nolan movie. Personally, I just like The Dark Knight and The Prestige a little bit more, but I love all three of those movies. This movie's great. I saw it for the first time a few years ago, loved it, and every time I rewatched it, I've loved it even more. And the last time I saw it was in the theater with Cameron Holzman, and it broke into my top 100, and it's just a great movie. Great.
All right. Well, we are on to Jack. We'll stick with you. Your first pick.
All right. Cool. I'm a little shocked no one's picked them yet. Not really. But they're the thumbnail for this thing. It's the X-Men.
Any specific movie you want to go with?
Days of Future Past, if we had to pick.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I love, before the MCU was a thing, the X-Men were my movies. I've always loved them. Hugh Jackman's, for as long as I can remember, been, my favorite actor, and a lot of that goes to this movie and, these movies and this character. But the team is just great. You've got, obviously, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. You've got Professor X in as Patrick Stewart in the one where the Sentinels are murdering everyone, and then James McAvoy in 1973. You've got just a great ensemble cast with Storm and Cyclops. That's older. That's older. I'm tired. With Storm and Rogue, that's the Rogue cut. I don't care. The Rogue cut's better.
The Rogue cut is better. It is.
Thank you.
Jack, do you ask to call someone for you?
No, I'm just tired. I've worked till 2 a.m. every night for the past 3 or 4 nights, and I'm so exhausted.
So you like the X-Men?
I don't sleep much these days, but I do like the X-Men. They're great. I'm kind of falling asleep because I'm just always exhausted now. People talk about it.
It's one thing you always want to hear. Loved being on your show, but I was falling asleep. So the X-Men. No, I really enjoy the X-Men movies overall. I didn't consider them for this list, honestly, because there's never been an X-Men movie where I felt like the team aspect was utilized to the fullest potential. If I had to pick one, it probably would be Days of Future Past. But even then, it feels more like Logan's going on a trip. He picks up a couple people, aka Professor X and Beast. They get Magneto, but there's never really a full team scenario. There's just a lot of great characters in the movie. And then otherwise, X2 utilizes a team pretty well. But overall, I get why someone would pick it. There's just too many there's not as many big team moments that I find in the franchise. But overall, I like the franchise quite a bit. Cody, I know you're a big X-Men fan. What do you think? You're muted. It had to happen at least once.
If he was falling asleep on the first pick, I can just imagine on the second pick. The X-Men, honestly, if you want to pick the best X-Men team-up movie, the best X-Men team-up movie is Last Stand. And that's a weird state, but that's the most they fight is actually a unit. Because they fight together at the end, and the villains actually fight together. That's what I'm so excited for Feige to have, because it's like Fox has never been able to put the X-Men as a unit, like as a team together, and I think Feige will be able to develop that over movies to pair them all together. Yeah, X-Men. I'm an X-Men apologist. I honestly don't think there's that many bad films. There's disappointing films. There's like ones that I don't love to run back to, but honestly, like X-Men Origins Wolverine is one that disappoints me really bad, and Last Stand makes stupid choices, but do I still have fun? Yep. And I'm kind of disappointed because I really like New Mutants and to see where that was going, and then they just failed to do that one. So yeah, good choice. It's just there's never been one that has fully embraced the team for me to pick it. Boatman, what about you?
I love the X-Men as characters. Like that was, I didn't read a lot of comics growing up. That was like the one. I read a lot of X-Men comics growing up, and I love the whole cast of characters in the X-Men. And I'm an apologist for the X-Men movies. I at least think there is something worth watching in every X-Men movie, even the worst ones. There's at least something good. And this is one of the best ones, if not the best one. This is definitely the best like team in terms of both quality and actually being a team. Because Last Stand is one of the lesser movies, but that's a team movie. But like this, I remember when I first saw this, I was actually really disappointed because I wanted more of like the Patrick Stewart X-Men, because that's what I loved as a kid when I was 14. And now I really like the First Class cast. So I like Days of Future Past more. And the scene where they go get Magneto out of the Pentagon is great.
Yeah. Jake, what about you?
I didn't really decide. I think that I was going to have X-Men. A thing about X-Men, because I do like the X-Men movies a lot. They're part of my childhood. Those early movies. Honestly, if I was going to pick X-Men, I would have picked X2. Like I think the fact that it's the X-Men and Magneto teaming up, I think that also just has so many great moments when they're breaking into Stryker's the Acolyte with the dam, the Acolyte Lake.
Yeah,
that's just so cool to see that kind of play out. I mean, even New Mutants, like they have a lot of great moments in that. I think they're a team, but that also is more of just their origin story. So it would have been cool if that played off. But I've just never been a big fan of Days of Future Past. I think there are definitely moments that I really appreciate what it's trying to do, especially when you have McAvoy and Stewart. They have that whole conversation. I think it's so cool. But there's just nothing really for me that I enjoy about. I don't really get much from Days of Future Past as a lot of people do. And it's kind of just, I don't know, it's a me thing. I don't think the action's all that well, and I just don't really care for the Sentinels, both the old versions and the new versions. But yeah, I do. This one just doesn't really work as far as a team dynamic. Like you could say the future X-Men, I do like aspects of that, but it's more just what you were saying, Tim, just Logan picking up these people along the way.
Yeah. All right. I will give my next pick. Guys, I should have made this my first pick. I'm a moron.
Zack Snyder's Justice League.
There is one team in all of film that has yet to be matched, and it is the greatest team ever assembled. It was assembled in the secret chamber of Elrond in Rivendell in Middle Earth, and it's the Fellowship of the Ring. I
was really surprised this wasn't your first pick.
Yeah, so I always am generic on the first pick, so I had to keep face. No, Lord of the Rings, like most of you know, is my jam. I love Lord of the Rings. I love Middle Earth in general. So it was easy to pick this. If I was going based off the books, I would have picked Thorne's Company, but that didn't really work out movie-wise. But we're talking about movies. Fellowship of the Ring is great. Even, I know I've been talking a lot on this show about, like, well, the best team dynamic. Like, even after the team splits up, they create other little teams that are fantastic. I consider Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli like their own little team that does awesome shit in Two Towers and Return of the King. But your main team of the Fellowship in the Fellowship of the Ring, even it's not even formed until halfway through the movie, and you still get so much time with all the characters. I could go on and on about it, but I love every single one of these characters. There's not a single character in the Fellowship I don't like. I think everybody is played to perfection. I'm gonna spoil Lord of the Rings, but like Boromir's death is like so powerful. I think all the stuff in the mines is really, really great. Gandalf's death is really, really powerful too. And every part of the time you spend with the Fellowship, I think, is done so well. Everyone always says, like, oh, they're just walking, but no, so much more than that. So yeah, I love Lord of the Rings. I love the Fellowship. I have recently changed my mind, though. This was my favorite movie in the trilogy for the longest time. I've recently changed my mind on that. But considering the Fellowship is not a unit in Return of the King, I will say that this is the movie I'm picking. So, Cody, the Fellowship.
I was really going to steal this from you when you didn't pick them first, just to see your facial reaction. But yeah, after watching the extended cut, I'm just leading the charge right now that the extended cuts need to be put into Fandom or put into any Geek League, because there's just more trivia, and like, why not?
A lot more.
And I honestly think they're better at that point. I like them a lot more after the fact. But yeah, great choice. I hate Frodo because, everybody.
Well, yeah, he's a part bitch, but
everybody should hate Frodo. But Gimli. I want a spinoff of just Gimli. That's the
Gimli spinoff. Interesting.
That's what I want.
All right.
Him just going to the grocery store and stuff. That's great.
Boatman.
Fellowship is my favorite Rings movie. I think that the reason why is partially because this is the one where you actually get all the characters interacting off of each other like the most, and I think that team dynamic is what makes the movie really strong. And well, like I used to say that Two Towers was my favorite. That one doesn't have like the team dynamic, and that's what really stuck out to me on recent rewatch. And yeah, I love the whole team. I love the dynamic between Legolas and Gimli. It's a lot of fun. Obviously, you got Frodo and Sam in there, and Pippin and Merry. The whole team is just fantastic, and Fellowship is where you actually get them as a team.
Jake.
I like Lord of the Rings. It's never been a franchise that I've been able to really gravitate towards. I hadn't seen them for so long until 2018 when I decided that me and my buddy would watch the extended editions, and it took us a good 12 hours to watch them all, maybe 13 hours. We had a bit of interludes. I do like Fellowship. I do like how that one sets up everything, and I do like when they do become a team, and when the whole Mines of Moria, that whole sequence is fantastic, and them working as a team in that whole situation, that whole sequence is fantastic. I just never even thought. I didn't even think of the Fellowship just because they kind of break off at the end.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna say that makes it invalid. I just definitely one that I was not thinking of. But I do think that I do like it. It's just I've got to rewatch the trilogy.
All right, Jack.
Yeah, I was a little upset when you picked this because I was going to have that as my second pick, but I should have known better because you exist and are the host of this and this movie team.
You need to be more awake.
I'm more awake now. But like, oh goodness, no, I'm a little upset that I didn't take it first. But I love these movies. They're some of my favorite movies of all time. Like the Fellowship of the Ring is my second favorite of the Lord of the Rings movies. That does have the best team dynamic of them in the whole, like in the trilogy. Return of the King is my favorite, has been for all my life since I've seen them, and yeah, I probably always will be, but who knows, things change. But I've always loved these movies, and I always will, and I'm really mad at myself now.
All right, Cody, we move on to your second pick.
So I had a few options I was going to go with, but I'm going to go with, shockingly, a baseball movie. I'm gonna go with The Sandlot. I wasn't gonna pick him, then I read Kirk's review for it and goes, nostalgia's on. This is a bad movie, and I just never wanted to punch somebody more in the face than that take on that. I don't think this is a bad movie at all. I think this is a really good movie, and I think it's one of the reasons why I gravitate to it still to this day, because it's kind of what Boatman said. Basically, everybody on that team is fleshed out. Everybody, you know their personalities. You get to stay with them as a team and how they go through. And they do like a little pickup game behind the thing and have to go through the constant little like kid struggles of like losing the baseball and the made up tales behind the fence. It's so quotable. The characters are so like even the kid that doesn't know baseball at all and then explaining to it, it's Boatman. It's like he has no clue. It's like the great Bambino. Who? It's just one of those.
That dopey deer.
Dopey deer. A s'more, like the sheltered kid goes and plays ball, and the Beast and James Earl Jones being the neighbor is so like. I think The Sandlot is a great film. I think it's losing steam like a little bit, because when I was growing up, like everybody watched The Sandlot, but now I don't hear many people talk about The Sandlot anymore. But I still think it holds up. So go watch The Sandlot, everybody.
Yeah, I haven't seen this in a really long time. The last time I saw this was in high school. So it's probably due for a rewatch for me. I didn't see it young enough where it was like a childhood like classic, but I saw it early enough that I didn't like think it was like awful like Kirk does. So I enjoyed it when I saw it. I would probably still enjoy it now. I just need to check it out again. Boatman, your take.
I don't know if people know that I like really love The Sandlot. Maybe people do know that, because I do have a Sandlot.
I was thinking about it and worried about it for a while. It was on the top of my mind.
Well, that's fair. That's fair. I'm glad I was able to clear that up for you.
You do live it in my brain.
No, that's fair.
Rent free.
No, I feel like this doesn't feel like a Boatman movie, and like I don't. Probably if I gave it it's one of those movies, if I gave it a star rating, it would probably be lower than what I actually like, how many times I actually watch it, because I watch this movie a lot. I really enjoy it. I love the dynamic of these characters. That's what makes it great. And I think the other thing that makes it great is it doesn't come down to like some contrived giant baseball game where they got to beat the mean kids, right? That happens like in the middle of the movie. And even then, it's not like this giant consequential thing. It's just, oh, we're going to play a game of baseball. It very much feels like a bunch of kids hanging out, and baseball is secondary to that. I would also like to make the argument that Cameron Holtzman is the Scotty Smalls. I am the Squints.
Okay, Jake.
I've never seen
You are no Squints.
Fair.
I honestly could not give a fuck about The Sandlot, like, to be honest. I weirdly have seen Sandlot 2 and Sandlot Heading Home, but I've never seen the first one.
That is fucking weird.
My grandparents owned the Sandlot 2 and 3 DVD box set, and it never came with the first one, so unfortunately.
Hey, if you needed any more evidence, I don't like you, okay?
Jack, have you seen The Sandlot?
I got a little boost of energy a little earlier, and then Jake just talked about the Sandlot, and now I'm down again. But no,
I mean, Cody.
I love the Sandlot. I think it's a great childhood movie for me. My siblings compare me to, I can't remember his name right now. He goes on to be known as the Great Hambino.
You are no Ham Porter.
So,
Okay.
I don't know, but it's a great movie. Love it. Good pick.
All right, Boatman, we'll go to you.
Yeah, I'm glad this hasn't gotten picked yet, so I got to take it. I'm going with a group of characters from a war film. No, I'm not going with the Dirty Dozen. I am going with Lieutenant Aldo Rain and the Inglourious Bastards. This is absolutely a team. The Bastards are absolutely a team.
That is definitely a team.
That's very little screen time together, but fine, go ahead, move on.
Everybody has at least, like, the core members of the team have at least one great scene and something to do. You got the Bear Jew in there. You've got Hugo Stiglitz. You've got the little man and BJ Novak. That's a fun scene. You got Hirsch. I love the scene where they got to pretend to be the Italian filmmakers. That's a lot of fun. It's just a fantastic film, obviously, and the Bastards it's just this really cool idea. Tarantino probably does revenge movies better than anyone else, and just this idea of you've got these Jewish soldiers whose only job is to just hunt down Nazis, and I think Tarantino brings that kind of pulp 70s filmmaking style, late 60s, 70s filmmaking style to it. And yeah, the Bastards are just an awesome crew.
Yeah, this is my favorite Tarantino movie. Funnily enough, all my favorite moments aren't really moments with this team. I love the Michael Fassbender scene in the bar is my favorite scene in the movie. I love all the stuff with Waltz and who plays the blonde? Is it
Melanie Laurent or Diane Kruger?
Diane Kruger. No. Shoshana
or Bridget
yes,
Von
yes, yes. I think all that stuff is really, really great. Yeah, I love the movie. I haven't watched it in a while, so Cody was just doing a rewatch of Tarantino, and he got my my appetite for Tarantino ablazing. So I think I might do a rewatch after other things. But yeah, no, I like this movie quite a bit. Boatman Cody.
I mean, I didn't think of him because the team is technically in one scene together. I don't really get to see them really used much. The three get to pretend to be Italian, and the three go off, but the actual team together, no, not so much. So I didn't consider it as like an actual team. I just a unit basically for one really great scene. But I did a rewatch on the Inglourious Bastards. It's my third favorite Tarantino. It's probably his best made film, but it's my third favorite of stuff I enjoy. So yeah.
Jake.
I remember being a little disappointed when I first saw this movie. This is the first movie I saw knowing that I was watching a Quentin Tarantino movie because it was just when like Django had just come out. But the one thing I was disappointed about was what Cody was saying is that there isn't really much like for a film called The Inglourious Bastards. There isn't much of The Inglourious Bastards, and as I've seen through rewatches, that has lessened the impact of that, and it becomes more than just about a team of Jewish soldiers in World War II. It's a lot more than that. But the times that we do see the team, it is fun, especially with the Bear Jew sequence, which is fantastic. It's always great to see Eli Roth actually play a kind of interesting character. It actually has shit to do. But yeah, I think that's just I just didn't even consider this movie, to be honest.
All right, Jack.
Yeah, I had this on my list somewhere, and it's a good pick. I think. Love this movie. This was my first Tarantino movie I saw. It's my second favorite, but probably his best. I like Reservoir Dogs a little bit more, but I think I think it's a good pick. Good job, Boat.
All right. So we
thank you.
we move on to Jake for your second pick.
So I was gonna pick a conventional choice, but I'm gonna be a little unconventional with this one. So a team, if it works well, can be a family. But what if a family does well and becomes a team? I am picking the key. I'm going to pronounce this wrong, and I'm so sorry. The Kite family from Parasite. They are a family, but they work as a team when they infiltrate the Parks family residence.
This whole thing's in fucking shambles.
I think the aspects of the family work really well, and they work as a team. The way they infiltrate through and pretend to not know each other, it has those heist elements, especially when the previous lady comes back and you find out more shit, and then they have to hide when the family comes back, and they work well as a team, especially during the montage when they have to try and kick her out, and then they use the peach. It's just, there are elements to why they work as a family, especially during the first 10 minutes when they're trying to get Wi-Fi and then they're trying to fold the pizza boxes. I honestly think that a lot of what works about this family and what works about this team is their dynamic and the way they try to they're basically like acting. One of the characters says they're like charlatans, and it's just the way they're able to kind of pretend. Yeah, I think the Kim family, it's either Kim or Kim.
That's what it said on Wikipedia.
Yeah,
so I just
that's cool. Yeah, but they work as a team and they have a plan, and then you find out later that sometimes the best plan is no plan, and you just kind of gotta go with what happens. And there is an aspect that I really like to them being and I think it also helps that they're a family, but also them planning shit and all that sort of stuff is just so much fun, especially during that whole montage where they try to overtake and, as metaphorically says, they become parasites. So I think I think they are a fantastic team.
I never would have thought of this. I'm in the camp where I liked Parasite a lot. I didn't love it. I think it deserved the Oscars that it won. I thought it was really great. It just wasn't my favorite movie ever. I think it was a little overhyped for me. I'm going to give it some time before I go back and revisit it, and hopefully I can maybe see what everyone else saw. But it's a really great movie. I just never would have thought of it for this show, but I like your creative out of the box thinking. That's what we're looking for. That's what we're looking for, Jake. So yeah, interesting choice. Cody.
We're looking for you to be wrong. That's what we're doing. So first we have the bastards up there, and now we have this. So anarchy stuff doesn't make sense anymore. Cats and dogs. Yeah.
No one picked that yet, Cody.
When I rewatched this, it went up a little bit. But again, I'm kind of in the same boat. I think it's really good, but it's just not one that's like best of that year, best of all time. A lot of people really like it. I'm glad for them. But it's nowhere near a bad movie. It's just I don't connect to it as much as I really want to. And I think basically it's the pressure of everybody else like wanting me to like it as much as them hurts it for me. Like, I want you to love this film as much as I love it, and I'm just like, I'm trying to see what you see, but I don't have the same eyes that you see. Like the production design, all the stuff, I don't blame it for picture. I don't. I think directors rightfully deserve. I think everything it won was fine. It just, I just don't have the same eyes that everybody else has. But as a family, as a team unit, no, not a chance. This does not count.
Boatman.
Yeah, I'm with. I shouldn't say it. I picked the bastards. I can't qualify anyone else. But like, I would never have thought of this one for this category. But like, sure, fair. I don't really think. I really like the stuff with the dad and the son. I don't know, but the daughter too. really, I just don't know what the mom necessarily brings to that table quite as much.
Jack.
Yeah, I love this movie. Honestly, didn't even cross my mind thinking of teams, but like I'm more in Cody's camp where I don't think it's much of a team, but I like your out of the box thinking as well. So like, I'm cool. One of my favorite. It's my second favorite movie from 2019. Probably best, maybe, I don't know, but it's that exists. No, it's a great movie. Love it. Don't hate the pick.
Jack, you confuse me. Okay, Jack, we're gonna go to your final pick. Hopefully you're awake enough and can finish the sentence.
Okay, so when he was talking about a team becoming a family, I got a little concerned because I thought I was going to have to make a different pick. But I'm just going to go with the family from Fast 5.
You make me sad.
I know. I hope Koho's watching. I could really use some points from him right now. Honestly, I really like this movie. I get it. The first that franchise is kind of a joke, but like it's a hell of a lot of fun. The fifth one I think is great because it takes characters that you've met from all the previous movies leading up to it and kind of gives us what Koho said in his last review of it. I think kind of like an Avengers kind of team up, but like not nearly as cool because it's not the Avengers. But no, I really like this movie. I think it's really good. I think it's a movie that can actually be taken as a good movie and not just like it's a Fast and Furious movie. It's not good like most of the other ones are. But I think it's good. I like the team aspect in it, and I think it's a good one. So I'll just write my last will and testament now.
Okay. Well, let's see here. The Fast and the Furious franchise, I've seen them a lot. It used to be in Fandom, so I've seen a lot of these movies often. Is this the best one? Probably. There are other ones I like more for how stupid they are, and I enjoy watching. But on the whole, I don't love the franchise. Vin Diesel's awful, but The Rock is good in this. But honestly, I've blocked most of these movies out of my memory. It's been a long time since I haven't watched the series since it left Fandom, so it's been a long time. But I remember liking this one a lot. There are other people who have more important things to say. Cody, why don't you go ahead?
Well, I like that he picked the fifth one, right? Where you can pick up the team halfway through and be like, this is the one redeeming quality of this entire team. Too bad they were shit before and they were shit after, but this one meant. No, this team dynamic sucks. They are not team players. None of them are team players. Vin Diesel is one of the worst actors. How he has got a career is the most baffling thing for me. It really is. I understand he may have a good performance now and then, but at the end of the day, this man, they brought him in the MCU to say 3 fucking words, and that's the best decision he ever made, and now he's able to, shut up.
We are Groot, Cody.
Shut up.
So that's okay. 5 words.
Oh, but he's expanding. Kevin Feige's going to make him tap dance in the next one. Or not Kevin Feige. Yeah, Kevin Feige's going to make him tap dance. I just think this entire group is, awful. I hate they became street racers to, I think, mechanics to super intelligent spies to superheroes. Like, Vin Diesel literally stomps on Rock at one point. He goes, the ground always wins, and stomps, and the ground cracks. It's literally, what the hell is happening with his camera? Okay. But I just wish in the same breath that I could say, Fellowship of the Ring. Oh, that was going to be my choice. Can't do that anymore. I'm going to say Fast and the Furious. Wow, what a change of quality in that one. You should have just said Justice League. You should have just said the Justice League. You'd probably be in better shape.
Boatman.
I don't like the Fast and Furious movies. This is the best one, but even then I don't love it. But like the best thing they did was actually like give it a crew and make it into a heist movie, because that's the way these characters are interesting instead of just driving cars to drive cars and steal things that are just random on the road. Actually make it like an actual heist crew. It's kind of cool and give everyone an actual purpose. Then to retcon Tej and make him a hacker, which he was clearly not in Too Fast, Too Furious, but sure.
Yeah, but does anyone really give a shit about that movie?
Too Fast, Too Furious is better than
kidding me now?
Furious, I'll say that.
Yeah.
I don't like those words. Too Fast, Too Furious is great.
Jake.
You're a trash can.
It's my turn to talk now, Cody. I think there are two really, really, really good Fast and Furious movies. It's Fast 5 and Tokyo Drift. There is only one good Fast and Furious movie after that, and that is Too Fast, Too Furious. The rest
you are
Fine.
insane.
I don't care. Too Fast, Too Furious is fantastic.
You're
fun.
a slut for early 2000s. You're a slut.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Go watch Kangaroo.
Wait, why are we surprised?
Oh, yeah.
Kangaroo Jack.
But Fast 5, I think Jack, I guess if you're going to pick a Fast and Furious movie, this is the best one to pick. But I mean, it's the Fast and Furious. There are better teams. There's a better team dynamic. It is fun to see like the crossover aspect of Fast 5. But I feel like that can only carry so much. When you see other movies and the dynamic of teams, and it's just, I feel like there are better picks. And you decided to go with the family because the family, and they're kind of a meme at this point. But that's good. This one's a good one. This is the best one, but there's just better. You could just not pick the Fast and Furious movie, and then you could pick something else.
All right. Well, that's our list. So those were our 10 picks. It's an interesting one. Go over to the letterbox page. Multiplex logged it, and give that list a like, as well as all the other stuff. So all the other stuff that we're doing tonight. So we're going to move on to the movie of the month. We have a new movie of the month this month, so yay. And it is Glengarry Glen Ross. We'll all give our thoughts on the film. I'll start off. I had never seen it before, so I watched it yesterday, and I didn't know anything about it other than the fact that Cody, Boatman, Koho, all of them had told me, yeah, you're going to love it. You're going to like it a lot. This cast, first off, is incredible. Like, when the movie, I knew Al Pacino was in it, and I knew that Jack Lemmon was in it. And I think I knew Ed Harris because Cody said that it's always Ed Harris. So when the movie started, though, and the cast list was rolling, and I saw like Jonathan Pryce and Alec Baldwin, and I know it's taboo to say his name, but Kevin Spacey, and I was just like, everyone's gonna burn, the world's gonna burn on fire now. But I was shocked at the amount of people in this movie, and I'm not gonna lie to you, this is good. I'm gonna sound like a moron, and I'm okay with that, but I had never seen the movie. I did not realize that the Boss Baby cookies are for closers thing was like a spoof from this movie, and because I had never seen this movie before, so when he goes, "Hey, coffee is for closers," I was like, "Holy shit!" So that was funny. Question for the panel: was this a play before it was a movie? I'm assuming, because and I don't think that's a bad thing. I actually like movies that are in like one or two locations that have that vibe, like this, or like One Night in Miami, or we talked about Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, stuff like that. I like those types of movies. So I enjoyed that aspect of it, seeing all these characters move in and out of a small space. My favorite performance in the movie was Jack Lemmon. I thought he was so good in the movie. And I really, really enjoyed his performance because I was talking to Boatman about this last night. I've only seen Some Like It Hot, and I don't think I could name you another Jack Lemmon movie that I've seen. So it was really cool to see this and see him in this. I thought he did a great job. Boatman had told me that the opening scene with Alec Baldwin is kind of the one that people talk about the most. It's a very good scene, but I thought everything with Pacino was really excellent. Overall, all the performances were really, really great. I liked how everything kind of unfolded as the movie went on. I thought it was really great. And I was surprised to see that the only Oscar nomination that came from this was for Al Pacino. I thought that was really interesting because I thought that all the not that all of them could have gotten nominated, but I thought that Jack Lemmon definitely deserved something if Al Pacino was getting something. Excuse me. I thought that Lemmon was on par with him, if not better. So I really liked the movie. I gave it 4 stars. So I'm going to go to Jack next because I don't know if Jack watched it.
I did actually.
Okay, well, great.
I just haven't logged it yet.
Jack, let's get your take.
All right. Yeah, I just finished watching it like an hour before the show, and I really enjoyed it. Not gonna lie, I almost fell asleep in the beginning of the movie, but the second Alec Baldwin had his monologue, I was like, oh, this is that from that movie. I know this because I knew that's what this was from, and I just didn't know when it was going to happen. But no, as soon as that happened, and the movie started going, I was like, okay, this is a good movie. I agree with Tim. I think Jack Lemmon is the best performance in the movie. Al Pacino is a close second for me, but I think Jack Lemmon delivers a hell of a performance. I personally would have liked to see him nominated over Pacino, but like, whatever. Pacino won that year anyways, so it's great movie. If I had to give it a star rating, I'd probably give it I'll give it 4 stars.
All right, Cody, let's go to you next.
Yeah, so this is my biggest miss from my top 100. It should be on there. It is probably sitting around the 50 range right now. I love Glenn Ross. Pacino, whatever. Pacino in 92 is just full of shit, basically, most of the entire year. Like he gets nominated for both things and wins one that doesn't deserve either one. Because Lemmon by far steals this movie. I honestly think Kevin Spacey is better in this than Pacino even. I think Spacey's given a really good performance, especially him and Lemmon back and forth. This movie's just great. I am confused by it's like a total of like 3 minutes of credit sequence, and then Alec Baldwin starts talking. So how Jack's falling asleep is insane to me. But overall, just because I guess this movie hits closer for me is because how I worked in sales before and how cutthroat sales really is. And it's basically you get a car, steak knives, you're fired. Those are your 3 things. Get it done. And then when you don't have the leads to get stuff done and the pressure, because you know that's the only way to feed your family or anything it's crazy. You'll become a crazy person over the stuff. I just think overall, his performance, the ensemble of this movie works so well. I love the ending between Jack Lemmon knows he's about to be found out, and they're calling him back, and Al Pacino's trying to tell Jonathan Pryce oh, it's fine, and Spacey comes over and ruins the whole stuff and sends Pryce down the thing. It's so compelling. But yeah, Baldwin steals the performance with one scene, and it is one of the best one scene wonders in cinema history. I think it's great. It's such an intense movie throughout the entire thing, and there's no intense setting or anything going about it. It's just thing. So I give it 4.5 stars. Just there's a little bit stuff that I wish. I think the play aspect does hurt a little bit in the film, just overall, because you can definitely tell the scene cuts and stuff like that. But overall, it's an easy go back and watch anytime.
And it was pretty short too. Like I was surprised that it was only like an hour 40. Jake, let's go to you next.
This is a film that I heard about forever and knew a lot about the movie, and I just never seen it. It just never came up. There was never a time where I just was like, I've got to watch it until now. So it's a great movie. It was kind of pretty much what I was expecting it to be, and that was a film filled with great performances and a great script. I believe David Mamet adapted it from his play, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure he wrote the movie, which is based on his play. So he has the kind of he knew what he was, as far as an adaptation wise, he knew what he was trying to do. I didn't know this until I looked a bit up, but the whole Alec Baldwin character was not in the original play. He was added in the movie because they just felt like they needed to add something to the film. And I'm just like, shit, arguably the most famous scene from the movie, what everyone quotes, put that coffee down. Everyone talks about Baldwin in this movie, and he's in that film for it's a 10-minute long scene, and it's fantastic. I fell in love with Jack Lemmon in this movie. I had seen a couple of his movies before, but this is when I'm just I'm watching him, I'm just you just feel for him. He's just a nice guy. I knew a bit about, I just know his character mainly because The Simpsons, the character of Gil Gunderson is based off Lemon's portrayal of Shelley in this movie. And so it was kind of cool seeing that he's the exact same character as Gil in The Simpsons, a down his luck salesman who's just I'll do this deal for you. You've got to promise me, man. And it's just you just feel for the guy. They hint at his daughter and in the hospital, and I just think there's an emotional depth to this character, and the fact that he just can't succeed, I think is really beautiful. And just they end. I don't know if I can spoil it, but at the end,
you can.
When Spacey's about to go into the office, and he's like, "I sold it," just quietly says it about the Glengarry thing, but that whole sequence at the end where it's just holy shit, this information is just revealed as that whole conversation goes on, and it's just shit. You think he was going up, and then he just goes straight back down, and everything about the performances are fantastic. Pacino, of course, it should have. I think easily Lemon should have got an Oscar nod. I think the film should have got a director nod. The way I think James Foley is able to make the film as cinematic as he could with a film that's based off a play, I think is impressive. And it's a great movie that I pretty much knew was going to be great from the first 5 minutes.
What would you give it, Jake?
I would give it 4 stars.
Cool. All right, Boatman, we'll close out with you. What are your thoughts?
Just to kind of add on to what Jake was saying earlier, Baldwin. So the play had won a Pulitzer Prize, and Baldwin was called in to do the extra scene, and Baldwin was really intimidated, both because he had to yell at some of his acting heroes, Jack Lemmon, but also because it's this prize-winning play that people loved, and he's in the scene that's not from the play. And Mamet said that they need that scene to really make these characters desperate. And I agree. I think you take out the Baldwin scene, and you don't get the sense that these characters, specifically Shelley, are beaten. And that's what makes them feel just beaten. It's that extra just kick while they're down that really makes you believe that these characters would do some pretty horrible things, but you sympathize with them. My favorite scene in this movie is when Jonathan Pryce comes back to the place, and Pacino and Lemon team up together to keep him on the chain, basically. And that is so great because you can tell that Lemon figures out what's going on without having to verbalize anything to Pacino. He's just rolling with it. Fantastic. That's easily my favorite scene in this movie. And Pacino, we talked about Lemon. Lemon's obviously great. But Pacino is so good as Ricky Roma. Because I love movies where characters are just good at their jobs. And Roma is so good at his job.
Absolutely. All right, what would you give it, Boatman?
4.5.
All right. So this is a high ranking one. Okay, guys, that was it. That was the show for the night. Coming up on Log It, I'm going to make a post about this tomorrow. So topics we have coming up next week, we are doing music biopics. We already have Payson on for that, so we'll need a couple more people for that. The following week on the 17th, we're doing hangout movies. So these are movies that you watch when you're hanging out with buddies. There's no real criteria to it. Go ahead, Boatman.
Oh, I thought we said hangout movies, like it's movies about characters hanging out.
Sure.
Like, yeah, that's I thought was our criteria for hangout.
Got it. I thought it was the other way around. But
No. Like your movies that are kind of plotless and just about characters chilling.
There we go.
Well,
that's what it is.
Clerks-esque film.
Yes, your Clerks type movies. Good example. I didn't want to say any of my examples because I didn't want to spoil my.
Sure. August 24th. I don't know what the fuck's going on. August 31st. We're doing comic book sequels.
Can we say we were doing? Oh wait, yeah, no, never mind.
Bowman, we don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, we don't.
August 31st. Comic book sequels. So that's gonna be that week. So if you're interested in music biopics, hangout movies, or comic book sequels, message me or Boatman and we'll get you on the panel. So that's going to do it for us this evening. I want to thank everybody who was here tonight. Very fun show. A lot of stuff, good stuff that we talked about. So go over to the Letterboxd page and follow that and like all the stuff that we posted tonight. Also follow us here on Twitch if you were new. Thank you for watching. And go check out the YouTube channel with all the trivia stuff going on. So we'll see you tomorrow night for YLS. I believe we are starting the animated movie series with Kaleb Boatman in the hosting seat. So we'll see you tomorrow night on Twitch for that. Until then, we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
In case I don't see you. Good afternoon, good evening, good